know why? Because it's my podcast. And I say, welcome to Geeks with Kids, your bi-weekly geeky podcast from a parenting point of view. I am one of your hosts, Eric, and joining me this week is Steve, Michael, and Michael. Hi, Michael, and Steve. I think I added an extra Michael there.
I want to be Steve. Can I be Steve?
No. We only have one grumpy person.
One Steve. One grumpy Steve. There's only one.
I can be grumpy.
So this one we're going to call Michael, and then Schaus and Hawk. You know, the same people I call you guys that every week. But before we start, I know people have asked us what happened to the "What's Good" section that we did, for a number of weeks. You know, what was our yum, right, Steve? What was our yum?
Yeah, I was not on board with that. That's not what I wanted to call it. No.
That's why I changed it to What's Good.
Yes.
And some people have asked us where it's gone. And just because these list episodes that we've done the past 2 weeks have been so long that we just sort of skipped over it. But if you do want to listen to something good, listen to Everything Is Permitted. There are friends down south being America. They have a great podcast about geeky culture, and check them out. They're fun to listen to. So before we get into this list episode, Michael, you're new. Who the hell are you, and why do we care that you're here? What's your geek cred? Let us know.
My geek cred. Okay, so I play a lot of video games, which is why I'm here this week. In addition to the vast library of games in my Steam library, I think I have about 200, and about 150 of them I haven't played yet. You know, Steam Center Sale really gets you every year.
That is the Steam way.
And so I also play Warhammer tabletop.
Woohoo!
I got into it about a year and a half ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I've spent about $2,000 on it since.
Oh damn!
That sounds about
year.
right for a year.
Yeah.
That's actually modest by some standards.
Oh my!
Is this fantasy or
Wow.
40K? Like, what's your favorite aspect?
So I play 40K, and I'm just branching into Age of Sigmar. They've nixed fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy. They had a thing called End Times a few years ago where they just blew up the universe and they relaunched it.
Finished it
as Age of Sigmar, which is an entirely new universe. But I just bought into the fantasy aspect of it as well. So
cool.
I've been pretty frugal though. I've been winning a lot of tournaments and store leagues, which give you store credit to.
Nice.
And so I've been buying all my new stuff with store credit.
Wow.
So that is currently what I'm doing a lot of. I used to play a lot of Magic, like Magic the Gathering. I have a lot of Batman comics, but mostly gaming and Warhammer right now. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Cool.
That's crazy. My buddy Stu is also really into Warhammer, and he told me that's how he got into D&D, because a lot of the painting and stuff for Warhammer is what he likes to do about his little D&D figures. So
Yeah.
I think we should do a Warhammer episode, just because I don't know anything about it. I would love to learn more about everything about it. I feel like Steve, you would.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely bring Michael on as well, and a couple of the people from Matt's cast from his last show. And yeah, I mean, to me, it's the only consistent fandom left, which the creators actually care about the setting. So as far as I'm concerned, it's worth talking about. That's a whole other debate. So we're not about that today. So
no, we're not. So this episode, if you've heard the last two episodes, we've been doing our best of the 2010s, or at least our favorites of the 2010s. So the first one was our favorite films, or Matt Moore's favorite films of the 2010s. Then we did Hawk's favorite TV shows of the 2010s. And this episode, we're going to do my favorite video games from the 2010s. So disclaimer before we start, unlike a lot of the people on here, I play a lot of PC, including the console stuff. So some of my stuff ranges from PC and mobile, or I'm actually no mobile. I didn't put any on there, but
what, Flappy Birds?
You're missing out.
Yeah. So I will be saying which ones are available on which console or system if you are interested in playing it. So to top things off, I'm going to just go through the top 10 list, like just read it off really fast, and then we'll do a deep dive into each one, and then I'll say why I liked it, what I thought was interesting about it, and then these guys can tell me how right or wrong I am about that. All right. Whew. So I've labored a lot over this list.
Yeah.
And I'm still not totally happy with it, but I'm gonna go with this one I have anyway.
Yeah, it's tough.
So I didn't do year by year like the other guys did the past 2 years, because there are some years where I was just like, nothing really good came out that year. So I'm going to start with my 10. Number 10, I have Destiny 2 from 2017. Number 9, I have Assassin's Creed Odyssey from 2018. Number 8, I have Control from 2019. Number 7, Hollow Knight. Number 6, Disco Elysium. Number 5, Tetris Effect. Number 4, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Number 3, Mass Effect 2. Number 2, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And number 1, The Last of Us. So,
quite a list full of pedigree, definitely.
Yeah.
It was hard. There's so many things that I swapped
your number one wasn't hard, though. That's very much your favorite game.
It is my favorite game. I've played it way too many times.
You talk about it a lot.
Yeah, I platinumed it on both PS3 and PS4. And apparently, if rumors are true, it's going to come out on PC. Sony's starting to branch out that way, like Xbox has, because of the architecture of PS5. Anyway, let's start with number 10. Destiny 2, my love-hate game on this list.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's an important game in your life. That's definitely true.
It really is.
So this it played when I got it on release, and I was really excited to get it on release. I played number 1 quite a bit. But I went through a similar cycle with the two games. Whereas, so in number 1, I got the game and I played the first expansion, and then I kind of burnt out. I didn't like the content releases that, like the first 2 expansion that they had. I think it was the ones before the Taken King. I forget what they're called at this point, but and I didn't like those. I didn't like Crota's End. I didn't like those 2 first expansions for the first one. So I stopped playing. Then I picked it up like 3 or 4 years later when you can get the bundle with all the DLCs in it that included the Taken King.
And they did all of the updates for it too.
I was unemployed at the time, so I was doing raids all the time, and I got really into it. And then I was like, oh, Destiny 2 is coming out, great. And I bought it, and then once again, they seemed more interested in making money off like microtransactions and like the silver store than they did about releasing actual content that progressed the story. And I thought the campaign was very good in number 2. It was a lot better than number 1. Yeah. And then I just kind of my excitement for it died out. But now I kind of want to get back into it, but I don't want to spend $80 on expansions right now.
Well, before we go into like the actual game, people may not have played Destiny 2. We should, explain what it is.
Actually, I'm very interested to hear how someone explains it, because that was my issue. Is I went into it and I only even know you guys because of Destiny. So Destiny was it had a lot of impact because I met all of you guys through that. And, exactly. And the setting was actually something that really enticed me. But that was one of the reasons why I kind of dropped off when it kind of became apparent. I don't know why this keeps happening to me. People they stop caring about their lore, and they just drop the ball on it. So that wasn't the reason I stopped playing. But how would you explain it though?
I feel like, but for those who haven't played Destiny 2 or Destiny, it's a now free to play online only multiplayer first person shooter. It's available on PC, PS4, Xbox, and Stadia. As we were saying earlier, it was the sequel to 2014's Destiny, and players, they assume the role of a guardian, one of Earth's last protectors of Earth's last city. Safe city. And for the second one, you're reclaiming your light after being defeated by Gaul and his Red Legion army. The subsequent expansions have, expanded that story. They've expanded the powers, and the largest DLC came out at the beginning of year 3, which is Shadowkeep, and it redid all of the armor classes to make it more RPG-like, and they added some quality of life improvements to the game.
Right.
But like Michael was saying, once they left Activision, there was a big, heavy focus on the Eververse, the silver stuff, so buying microtransaction stuff, which was unfortunate. And I feel like, I know me and Hawk are the ones that play this game the most. We play it pretty much all the time, except, the last 2 weeks, I think, we've stopped playing.
It seems to be a cycle when new stuff comes out. Do you go heavy into it and that? Do you get right back into things like Crucible? leveling up a bit, and then it seems to like it runs out of air.
Yeah, the DLCs, they seem to like Michael was saying. Sometimes they get you but I feel like there's always been like 2 small DLCs that have been sort of nothing, and then there's a big one where people are like, oh, it's really exciting and good again, and then it goes back to like 3 small DLCs where people are like, nothing's happening, and then something big happens. That's sort of been what it's been like for year one.
They're still keeping people hooked though. Like even with that, it's still enough to keep pulling.
And that's why it's on my list, because it keeps pulling me back, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like then this most recent year, the year 3, they added the season pass, or not even a season pass. What is it? It's that year pass, not pass, like progression.
Well, they're doing.
They have it for paying users and unpaying users, right? Where you can get certain things for leveling up, and they stole it from Overwatch and Fortnite, and a bunch of other games like that do it. And I don't know. I'd like to see a model that's like ESO, where you pay, I don't know, $15 subscription every month, and you get access to all the content. Yeah, I feel like that's what they're gonna go towards, right? Like right now, they don't know how to communicate with their, like, once they left, they had some really good communication with the community, but ever since then, it's just like wavered. I don't know, Hawk, what is your experience with Bungie right now? Do you follow that stuff as much as I do?
No, you're the one who kind of keeps me in the loop on a lot of the behind the scenes stuff.
Because I need someone to play with.
Yeah, exactly. It seems a lot small. I think they're kind of throwing their weight behind some sort of overarching plot line in that, and concentrating just on like these little small seasons in that, where you're basically, it's mostly focused on bounties and,
it's starting the grind. I know, Steve, that was your big issue, was the grind.
Well, it wasn't the grind. I love grind, but I just didn't like the payoff. That's all. I mean, you have to have a good cycle. Like we were talking earlier off screen about, games, and Diablo 3 has a good drop. They have, right? They have an amazing drop. And that's been my issue with a lot of games, is as I get older, as we all get older, we have less and less time. I don't mind grinding games. I like grind. I like repetition. But my biggest problem at the beginning and at the end of Destiny 1 and at the beginning of Destiny 2 was the R&D, the treasure drops were awful. It was really painful. Has it gotten better, Hawk, do you think? For the year 3? I think we've gotten more exotics this year.
We've gotten more exotics. A lot
of doubles.
There seems.
You guys would get mad when you would get exotics.
That's because
they're always double.
Yeah, double.
We're like,
not another exotic.
Exactly. It seems like
not me. That would be Hawk.
You're just kind of reclaiming like a previous library that you had. The exotics have been like kind of matched up to the season now, where they're dropping armor stats and everything like that. Now I wonder if that's something like they could implement one of the mechanics that they use in Diablo, where if you do have a certain number of doubles of a particular legendary item, you could actually combine them or break them down into another item of the same.
That would be such a good idea, right? They do that in Borderlands, don't they? As well. I feel like you can do that in Borderlands. So many systems of treasure, that are better than Destiny's. I mean, that's the bottom line. But not very many people have a good treasure system. That's why we're even talking about Diablo and Borderlands, right? I mean, there's very few games that handle it well.
Well, a lot of these games, you think that they don't put a lot of thought and effort into their treasure systems, but at the end of the day, they've probably done a lot of internal research in terms of what keeps people playing the longest. Yeah. And it might feel like very rewarding to be able to get all the items you need very quickly for build, or like having a lot of loot drops or whatever. But I think they've probably have some math that they've worked out, in the game development process. Well, if we limit the drops by this much, then, people will play longer, but, it'll be less rewarding to play, because so many games have this like live service model now where the biggest resource that people are fighting over is time.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't know if I like it very much.
Yeah. I wonder about that equation. Like, you would think somebody was working on that, but like Anthem was a game where like easily, if they had just opened up the treasure drops just a tiny little bit, that would have created a Diablo type cycle, and everyone would have been fine with that half-assed game, as it was quarter-assed game. But like, actually, we didn't even really describe what Destiny was about. Like, you just kind of glossed over it. Like, the setting was that this thing called the Traveler, an entity, arrived in the human future and then created a golden age. And then the enemies of this thing came and invaded. And now
the solar
system's invaded.
What's happening is that it's post, like it's a post-apocalyptic type world where humanity's now sequestered into this one area on Earth, and they're fighting off the darkness. And I just hit my microphone, damn it. So as a guardian, you're there to protect people and ward off the darkness and trying to figure out what's going on. There's some neat, at least in the past 2 years, story elements, but I feel like most recently you're just picking at it, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to find where it is. It's not as bad as Destiny 1 where you had to read the Grimoire cards.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
To do the history, because they actually tell you it in game now.
Yeah.
But it's all sort of slim pickings. You have to listen to the audio, and then you have to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
They've released these neat like books, compendiums of the history.
They seem to be getting it a little bit more sorted now, but only after a couple years into even Destiny 2, that they're really finally on top of it.
I wonder how much the interference with Activision is has hindered that.
Yeah, we're not going to get that whole story for another 4 or 5 years, I think.
Yeah. I don't think we'll see what Destiny really should have been like until Destiny 3 comes out.
Yeah.
When it's fully their own game.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that Jason Schreier guy gets the inside scoop. He
always does.
He's done a lot of really good exposés, and I'd like to see him go in and talk about what Bungie's interactions with Activision were. But I'll be, and I think this goes for a lot of people. I'll be holding off of Destiny 2 until they implement some sort of subscription thing that gives me access to all the content, so I don't got to pay $150 for all the expansions all at once.
Yeah, and
I honestly don't think they're going to do that for Destiny 2. I think that's what Destiny 3 is going to be.
Yeah,
I think that's what they're going to move to.
Yeah,
I think they want to use what.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I think they want to move into a much more expanded, massively multiplayer RPG and that for Destiny 3 and that, but we're not going to see that until at least next generation.
Yeah.
Console and PC.
Well, hopefully next generation comes actually this year, but who knows based on all the rumors going out right now.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to number 9, which is another one that I wasn't really sure about. So from 2018, we got Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the 11th entry into Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed franchise. This story is a direct sequel to 2017's Assassin's Creed Origins. Set in the year 431 BC, the story tells a fictional history of the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta. The player can control either a male or female mercenary as they attempt to unite their family while doing, assassin-y things. The game is available on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Google Stadia. So this game I put on here because like me and Steve have talked about this a lot. We're pretty big Assassin's Creed fans. And this sort of seemed like the culmination of all of their work. Everything that they've been trying to do since Assassin's Creed 2. They added the stuff from Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 4.
Yeah.
All the choices seem to actually matter in this game, and they've added so much to it. There's so many little details in this game that are so much fun, and it's not really heavy because of the whole Assassins versus Templar thing.
Mm-hmm.
They had to fit into that sort of mythos before they rebooted with Origins. So this is because it's a retelling from the beginning. They can go wherever they want. They don't have to.
Yeah, they're not
purely
stuck.
Talk about the Templar War. I think it was just a beautiful game. The DLC is so good and some of the best gameplay I've done anywhere. So.
I mean, I haven't played it yet, but I'm hotly waiting to get it at a great price and jump in. And actually, my main reason I haven't bought it is just time. I just know I don't have the time that I want to get.
It is a giant game, and Assassin's Creed Origins was big because you're playing in Egypt, but all of Greece is in this game pretty much.
Yeah,
and the surrounding Mediterranean area.
Yeah,
so. It's giant.
I mean,
and you can go anywhere.
I'll just throw this out there for people who are curious. One of the greatest features that they added towards the final releases is a history lesson thing. Like you can literally take a tour of ancient Greece, and because they put so much research into these games, all the time. Right now the scans of Notre Dame are being used to help, from the Parisian, from the French Revolution.
From the fire.
Yeah. But from the actual fire in real life, the scans that Ubisoft made of Notre Dame are actually being used now to try to help with that. And likewise with this Greek game, there's so many islands, so much information that, if you were to actually have to play through to really appreciate it, that's one thing. But they actually included, like, what is it? Is it like a tour or narration?
There's a separate thing you can go into it so that you can tour the various historical landmarks around Greece, and then they'll tell you the history of that section. You can actually walk through it or do a horse. And they really did. They started that with Origins in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a teacher, have you ever? I know some people that have actually used this in their classes. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
I haven't used it personally, but it sounds really exciting.
You teach younger people though, so it's a little hard.
But if you were teaching like ancient civilizations, you were doing stuff like that, to actually have this sort of hands-on experience for the kids. Like a lot of classrooms are starting to use Minecraft now just to get kids in there and using video games in educational setting. And so using something like, which is traditionally a very violent series, but sort of stripping out the violent parts and just showing off some of the amazing level design. I think it's really cool.
And they've done everything to pretty much 1-to-1 scale, at least in the historical sites, right?
Nice.
So everything that you would have seen there is actually what you would have experienced.
Cool.
More or less.
Nice.
Like when we talked about the Notre Dame being recreated for the game, they actually had to take some liberties just because of the game, but they have the original scans, which are all the proper measurements. So that's what they're actually using, not the in-game stuff. But
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I got tired of the Assassin's Creed formula around Black Flag. When I loved that game, but about 75% completion, going through all the sites, and like I'm a completionist, so I like to do everything in the game. I got super burnt out with the franchise in general.
Me too.
I just when the next one came out, I think it was Syndicate came after. I didn't partake. I didn't buy it, and that's kind of when I checked out of the entire series. I have Origins because I got it in a Humble Bundle. I haven't installed it or played it yet because, like I said earlier, time is finite, and like game companies are competing for time now. I have.
Yeah. I will tell you this. You know how in older Assassin's Creed games there'd be stupid like
feathers.
Follow this music note or find these feathers.
That was
they don't do anything like that anymore. And a lot of the talking plot they've cut down, which is what I really appreciate.
No, I'm totally on the same page with you, Michael, because I played everything, and it was right around 4 that I really started to slow down, and I never finished Syndicate. So I did get as far as Syndicate, but I didn't actually finish it. And I actually really liked Syndicate too.
Syndicate was really good.
It was a great game. I just love the environment of it and some of the changes, but it was still basically the same game. And and speaking of completionists, what was the French Revolution one?
Unity.
Unity. I finished that game story wise, 100%. I never finished the collectibles. I just got so sick of it. It was just ridiculous. And by that point, the whole novelty of the open world collecting flowers, music notes, what have you, had completely worn out for me. But, from what I've understood about Origins, and then more so with Odyssey, it is a much more flexible, much less overbearing type of open environment. You really can engage a lot more in terms of talking to characters and actually being interested in what you're doing. It's not this collection chase, right? So it's a different approach to what I felt like was a very stale open world sandbox model. It's not really the same thing. So at least there is this this change in the Assassin's Creed paradigm. It's not really the same game. Is my point. No.
It is a more refined version of what you guys have played in the previous versions. I enjoyed Syndicate. Unity I didn't really like. I didn't end up beating it, but Syndicate I beat. Rogue I never played because all right. Assassin's Creed 3 was just bad.
I loved Assassin's Creed 3. Oh my god, I liked it.
I don't know. I didn't like Connor. I think
Connor is a very unlikable protagonist, unfortunately.
I did like that you could climb across the trees in 3.
I thought the gameplay in 3 was very fun. I liked the wilderness aspect of the contrast between the city and the cities in the wilderness. That was real cool.
We had just come off of Ezio too, and he was such a likable character.
Yeah.
And then to go to Connor, it was like,
Yeah, it's exactly funny. Ever since then, they've been very jovial. Like they're always like happy. He was the only one that kind of stood out from that. Although, what about the protagonist from Origins? I don't know his deal. Well, how was he?
Bayek was fine. He had some. So
he seemed more serious too.
His story was serious because his family.
Yeah, it was kind of dark.
Part of his family had died.
Right.
I don't want to ruin that for people who want to play the game. But yeah. He was a little more serious, but there were jovial parts. Like he'd meet old people that he knew and would go perk up, which I don't think Connor ever did.
No,
even the people he liked, he was still like,
You had to fight a lot of crocodiles in Origins. I remember that.
Yeah, and hippopotamuses.
Oh, hippopotamus.
Or race them at least. But yeah, Matt Moore, are you there or are you still muted?
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay. Did you play Odyssey? I don't know if you.
I have played pieces of Odyssey.
Do you like it?
I'm a big fan. Yeah. Give me one hot second. I can answer that. Hold on 1 second.
Hot second.
We need like a sound effect. A Matt has been summoned.
Oh, that would be
good. But yes, Assassin's Creed. I liked the bit I've played of Odyssey, and I haven't played a lot because I mostly just kind of demoed it and played some, borrowed a copy and played for a bit. I like it. I definitely agree with you guys. It did. It fixed a lot of the open world mechanic issues where you're kind of just walking around collecting random crap. It definitely kept the story kind of focused so you could actually enjoy yourself without crossing over too much into like janky platformer. Which for me was an improvement over like every game prior to that because I had a real issue with the series for quite a while.
Yeah,
we've talked about my issues with that earlier with a lot of the pay-for-play nonsense that they had going on with patches and weird crap that just was unnecessary. And yeah, Connor is just a grotesquely unlikable character.
Fair.
Poor guy.
I think if ever there was an emo assassin, it was Connor.
That's true. That's a very
that's probably why
appropriate.
I liked him.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like, I love Michael's like, I like the character. I'm like, of course.
Oh yeah, I had the emo hair around that time when that game came out.
You know how Far Cry New Dawn fixed a lot of my issues with Far Cry?
Yeah.
Where it didn't feel as boring. That's what I feel like Odyssey and Origins.
That's a good way of comparing them. Yeah.
New Dawn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I got a bunch of Far Cries confused there. I thought you were talking about Far Cry Primal.
No, I never played Primal.
No, New Dawn fixed all the problems from Primal.
I liked Primal. I liked riding around like a saber-toothed tiger and like stabbing people in the face. That was fun.
It was a fun twist on the series. Definitely. Yeah.
It was a fun. For me, it was a fun twist. But it was a fun twist that should have been a patch, not a full game.
Fair. All right, let's
because anyways, long rant. Leave it alone.
Let's go on to number 8 because this is probably my favorite game from last year. So number 8 is Control. Control, the action adventure game developed by Remedy Entertainment, the creators of Alan Wake. The game centers on Jessie Faden and her investigations into the Federal Bureau of Control. Jessie explores the oldest house, the FBC's paranormal headquarters, and gains special powers to defeat an enemy known as the Hiss. The game is available on PC, PS4, Xbox One. So this game, I know Steve talked about it last year as his favorite game of 2019, and I don't think any of us had played it at the time. I played it right after he suggested it, and you know what? This game blew me away. The story was intriguing. All the collectibles made me want to read everything. There's not many games that make me want to read everything. It felt like Fringe mixed with the X-Files.
Yeah, that's how it
mixed
is.
With, I don't know. It was just so compelling, and the story was good. The acting was amazing. The action. If we didn't have a Jedi video game last year, this would have been the Star Wars game of last year with a transforming gun.
Sure.
And it's one of those games you don't want to ruin for people.
Yeah, it's really hard to talk about.
It's so good, and you don't want people to go into it and be like, oh, this is what they were talking about, because you want them to experience that.
This is definitely on my must playlist.
Yeah,
sure.
even
this should be on everyone's must.
Even
playlist.
the trailers I sent you guys, I was very careful which ones I sent, because some of them I feel like give too much away. So I was like sending the most nondescript, like, teaser-ish ones, because it's the experience of that world and of the sense of discovery. And I mean, I one thing that I think people might be turned off by is how utterly without explanation the game is. Like, it just drops you in with very minimalistic explanation of the controls of the game, as well as what's going on. But that was the part that actually got me to really, focus and engage with it. And it was just a great experience.
That being said, you're not fumbling with the controls because everything seems so natural that you just sort of pick it up and you play it. And then once you start getting powers, everything feels like a proper progression. Yeah.
No, I hadn't played it in a few months, and I was actually just showing the game to a friend of mine because he hadn't seen it before, and I jumped right back into it. It was natural. It was amazing.
Yeah. So the oldest house, which is where this game takes place, it's sort of like the TARDIS where things move and change inside. So the building's constantly changing. Well, not constantly, but there are things that are changing in it.
Yeah, it can alter itself as needed. Yeah. No, I think the Fringe and the X-Files comparison is really apt because basically, without getting into it, the Federal Bureau of Control investigates those sorts of paranormal things, that we're not supposed to know about. And as a result, everything involved with this organization gets a little bit weird and has a lot of flavor. And what Erik was saying about those documents, I mean, it's a game where thankfully there's more collectibles than you need, so you don't need to actually hunt them all down. So it's really nice. If you care, but
you want to,
but you actually want to, exactly. Like I want to sit down and give myself half an hour to reread all the stuff I found, because as you get them, it fills in more and more pieces of just conversations. I guess what I'm trying to say is, what impressed me about the game is everything in it has been thought out, and it's there, even though they give you none of it to begin with. So if you have the curiosity and you want to spend the time, you'll discover an extremely well fleshed out setting with many different things going on, not just like one main plot. And that to me was just extremely refreshing. I haven't had that experience in a game or entertainment for a little while. So that's what stood out for me the most.
Anyone else? Schaus, Hawk, Michael?
Haven't played it yet.
I haven't played it either.
Yes,
neither have I.
But the unbridled enthusiasm that has been lofted upon this game is just it's got it on my list. And that it's you guys nominated it for your top. If you have the best game of last year, IGN. I was so surprised it turned up on their list for number one of last year.
Yeah, it was surprising.
I'm just currently looking through the PSN sales right now.
You guys aren't the only people
like
that tell me that it's good. So
yeah,
it's worth the $47, guys.
What's with the deluxe edition?
It's not totally worth it. The deluxe edition gives you a few cosmetics and 2 as of yet released DLC. There's supposed to be one coming out in March, but I'm still waiting. I've got the deluxe edition. I've gotten nothing for it really. So I will say, yeah. Unfortunately, there are 2 DLCs that are yet to come. I can't remember exactly what they are, but you know what? I don't even want to talk about them because I don't want to spoil anything. So
I don't think. Yeah, they haven't really said any.
No, they've been pretty vague
firm
about
details.
it.
Yeah, because it is one of those games where you don't want to say what happens at the end.
Yeah, exactly. They added in a free game mode to tide us over, which is pretty cool. But
what are they called? The tiers? I
forgot what it was called.
I don't remember. Bad. So this is also one of those games. So Steve, you'll appreciate this now that you have an RTX card. It's one of the first games developed for ray tracing.
Nice.
So
okay, I might actually be.
You might have to get on PC now.
Okay, this is one thing I will add. The game unfortunately does have when things explode in the game, a lot of stuff flies around, and it tends to affect the frame rate. So I will make that warning on PC and especially on consoles. It can start to lag. So you got to really adjust the settings on PC. So that's good to know about the ray tracing, because then I can actually probably play it at max. But even on the console, it does drop frames pretty badly, unfortunately.
I had no issues with the frame rate in this game when I played it. So I have a 1080 Ti. So
nice.
Just wait for the Switch version. Play that,
that game will not. I would break my Joy-Cons with this game from all the action in this game. Yeah, it's phenomenal. You guys should definitely check it out.
Jog my memory, because like I said, I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about the game. I'm actually going to pick it up tomorrow because I'm gonna treat myself. But what does it run? Is it FPS? Is it an over like 3/4 over shoulder?
It's third person
okay.
FPS, a third person shooter.
Okay.
Yeah.
With powers.
Yeah.
So it's not really.
It's just because, like I said, I wanted to look into it, but like you got, because I remember Steve from almost in the beginning, you didn't want to talk about what happened. So I'm like, I don't want to do any digging because I don't want to find something that's going to ruin it for me.
Yeah. So it's Anthem then, basically, third person shooter.
No. Why are we using Anthem as a standard? No, stop it.
It's like Jedi Knight.
Okay. Trigger Steve. That's all.
Yeah, that's what this show is turning into.
Turning into. It's always been that.
I know.
This game, I have nothing but good to say about it. The music is so good, and then when music changes in the game, it's also very good.
Yeah, there's just great craftsmanship all around. I mean, there's things I don't want to talk about that they added, that they have in the game. That's just well designed, well shot, you know. And
for people who like lore, the greater world that this is connected to is phenomenal. Yeah, and I hope that they actually release more stuff. There was someone, I don't remember. I think I sent you guys the article many months ago, but someone wanted to make a Control movie.
Tricky,
or at least or miniseries or something. I think it might have. I think they were saying that they wanted to just do like a Fringe type TV show. With this. Yeah, and I would be down with that, especially since
I would say I would too. It just, I remember they said there was a lot of talk about that around the same time as Alan Wake, and that kind of went nowhere, which was unfortunate because again, that would have been really cool.
Yeah. Oh, I love Alan Wake.
Yeah, then you would love Control.
Yeah. But it would be nice to see those two worlds kind of crossing over in a meta universe. That would be kind of a neat little twist on it.
The creativity and like that attention to detail and world building, I think this is fair to say, Eric, right, is also present. Like that Remedy. It's funny because what other games have they made? They made Max Payne, and they made
that time one,
Quantum Break.
Quantum Break.
Yeah. So they've made a few interesting games, since their early days, and they seem to be very immersive, kind of experimental, kind of.
Quantum Break was bad.
Yeah, well,
It was neat though.
It was a neat idea, but it didn't execute properly.
Yeah, the concept was really neat.
It was one of the first games I bought to play on this new computer of mine. It was on sale. I think it was Steam sale, and I got about I don't know, halfway through it, and I was like, I can't play this anymore.
So what we're learning is that you need to calm down on the Steam.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, Humble Bundle gets me that way too. I guess we'll go on to number 7, Hollow Knight.
Good.
Hollow Knight is a Metroidvania-style video game created by Team Cherry and released on Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbone, and the PC. The game centers on a bug knight and his quest to uncover the secrets of Hollow Nest, a long-abandoned insect kingdom. As you explore, you discover more secrets, gain more abilities, and access new areas. This was actually a Kickstarter game from back in 2014 with a beta they released the year after in 2015. The stretch goals weren't completed, but they ended up doing them anyway just because of the fandom for this game, and they just released it with it. So the team is very passionate about this game. They're passionate about their fans. They're actually releasing a sequel, I think, either this year or next year. And
nice.
This is probably the best Metroidvania game I've played in the past 10 years.
Wow.
And that's why it deserves to be on here. The arts, this is another one I used to stream. It's one of those games where it's really hard. And if you screw up, it's because you screwed up.
It's fair hard.
And when you die, you go back quite a ways too. So there's a lot to lose when you screw up.
Yeah.
You got to save.
It's tense.
And the art style's phenomenal.
So cute.
Gorgeous.
It's animated and just so good. I assume, Schaus, you've played it. Obviously, I think I bugged you about
this one. I do play on the Switch. The last time was a joke, but this one I do play on the Switch, and it's an amazing game. Like I haven't beaten it yet, but whenever I get a chance, I try to hop in and just play a little bit more. And
I'm debating buying it on the Switch. There's only so many times I can rebuy all these games. Right? I have The Witcher on 3 systems.
Lord,
2 systems. I almost got it on the Switch the other day. But anyway, anyone else?
We're gonna have to do an episode on you buying how many copies of which games, just to see how many, which one you actually have it on 4 systems.
I almost bought Jedi Knight 2 on the Switch just because I saw it on the e-store, and I was like, I love this game. I loved this game when I was like 15 or whatever.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy it.
That's what they're hoping for. They want you to look at it and go, "Oh, I remember this. I'm going to pay for it again."
Oh, nostalgia.
I haven't played the game. I generally avoid. I for some reason I just don't like. It's pixel art, right?
This one isn't. No,
this one's animated.
Okay. All right, maybe I'll give it a try. I don't like a lot of pixel art games.
Yeah, this one one isn't pixel. It has a more of a cell animation style. It's not, but it has a neat little art design to it. Yeah, it's cute.
You should go look it up on Steam. I think it's on sale right now. This one I do highly recommend buying on Steam.
I have to stress this. I don't buy anything anymore.
I think this got a 9.4 on IGN, which is all
right. I'm gonna have to check it out then. I'll find the time to play it.
Ooh, it's rated 10 out of 10 on Steam. So,
and if I like it, then I'll give the developers my money. That's kind of how I play games now. Since they don't release demos for games anymore, I take my pirate ship and I set sail. And if I like it, then
I wonder if I have any videos on my stream like saved. I'll try and find something and I might send it to you because just look at it, see if you find it.
I just posted a link to just like some of the artwork from the game, but I mean, yeah, if you've got your Twitch stream, anything saved on there?
Yeah, we'll see. Anyone thoughts on Hollow Knight? Matt Moore, I don't know if you played it, Hawk. Steve?
Had not played it, know very little about it.
Oh, so good.
I haven't played it yet, but this one looks like a Switch game for me, and that I'm trying to expand my library out.
Definitely get on the Switch.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not much of a platformer or Metrovania player, but the style and what I saw from Erik's streams got me interested, so I did eventually get it.
I was so angry on those streams.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I was trying to get that one boss, and I just couldn't figure it out, or I couldn't get the time
and it looked impossible too. Like I gotta tell you, I'm watching this thing, and these bullets are flying all over the place, and I'm just like, I could feel his pain. It was awful.
But I beat him, which is what's important. And then I had to turn off the computer because I needed a drink or something. Highly recommended Hollow Knight from 2017. 2016 is another game from last year, but I ended up playing it this year. But it came out last year, so I'm going to add it to the list. Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium is a role-playing game developed and published by ZA/UM. I don't know if that's supposed to be Zaum. The game was written by Estonian novelist Robert Kurvitz. It was released on PC in 2019 and will be released on PS4, Xbox One in 2020. It's an RPG featuring an open world and a dialogue-heavy gameplay. It's one of those isometric games, so you're seeing it from the top, sort of like Diablo 3 or something like that. The player takes the role of a detective on a murder case who's suffering from alcohol and drug-induced amnesia in the fictional city of Revachol. No. So that city is this is all in a fictional world, and that city is sort of suffering from a failed communist revolution that occurred 5 decades earlier, and a lot of the dialogue that's happening while you're serving this mystery has to deal with the revolutionists, and it's such an interesting game. There's no combat in the game. You do have HP and in it, but all of that, you can lose health purely through dialogue trees. Screw up doing something, you can lose it. There are 4 primary abilities: intellect, psyche, physique, and motorics. So things you can use with your hands, and each of those has 6 secondary abilities. You can upgrade these skills to help your player pass skill checks, but they can also result in negative effects and character quirks. For instance, a player can have high drama, which may be able to detect and fabricate lies, but it also makes the player more prone to hysterics and paranoia. Also, you can do like high electrochemistry, which makes the character not have the negative effects of drugs, but it'll lead to substance abuse for your character. It's really, really interesting. My character right now is slowly going crazy. He has lots of voices in his head, and I think I may have tweaked them in a wrong way, but
that's life.
I think it's great. It feels like you're playing a David Lynch movie. That's
that just sells it for me right there. I'm just like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah,
I haven't played it yet, but I've heard amazing things from a ton of people, so I am going to pick that one up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna grab it.
It looks like Fallout. Like I'm looking at the some screenshots. It looks like the original Fallout games. Like
the isometric view. Yeah. It's beautiful. You can die in the first room that you wake up in, as in your drunken stupor when you wake up.
That sounds like something I would do if I was playing that game.
It's so good. Yeah, my guy currently has a facial expression that he can't get rid of because he doesn't have the mental capacity to get rid of his creepy smile.
Oh my God.
And it's freaking out certain people in the world. And it's so good. You guys have to play
it. Sounds
It's coming
amazing.
out on console next year or this year.
Okay.
So even if you don't have a PC, definitely check it out.
Yeah. No. You mentioned this one before, and it sounded really intriguing. Yeah, I got to definitely remember.
Put this on the Steam wish list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
when it pops on sale,
I'll also give it one more accolade. This is one of those games where I'll start playing at like 8 p.m. like after my kids have gone to sleep, and then I'll look at the clock and it'll be like 3 a.m. and I'm like,
oh Lord.
Oh no, what happened? And it's one of those nights. There are not many games that just like pull you in to it, and this is one of those games, and it's so good.
Nice.
It's so good.
Nice.
Play it.
I'll have to give it a look. So you've been going on about it long enough.
Yes. I think the guys over at Everything Is Permitted have been talking about this game too.
They have, yes.
What's the matter, Julian? I can't remember, but one of those guys have definitely put that on their list, and I'm 100%. Damn. Yep. Okay, I'm since we've been recording a while, I'm gonna go faster. Number 5, Tetris Effect 2018, the latest entry into the tile matching puzzle series. It was developed by Monstars and Resonair and published by Enhanced Games. This was actually co-published by Tetsuya Mizuguchi, who created Lumines. So when he was creating Lumines, he wanted to make a Tetris game that had music sort of intertwined with it, and he didn't get the rights, so he made Lumines. But he finally got to do it with Tetris Effect, and basically this was named after that phenomenon that people sometimes when they close their eyes they can see Tetris pieces just from playing it so much.
Wow.
And
it's horrifying.
Yeah. I'm one of those people that have played Tetris pretty much everywhere I can. Like if I can have it on something, I will play it, and this is definitely the best version of Tetris. It's so soothing and like incredibly encompassing. Like I played it in VR, and it was something I never wanted to take off my helmet. This is available on PS4 and PC.
So I played the demo of this game on Eric's recommendation.
Yeah, me too.
And then right after playing the demo, I went and bought the game like at full price. Like it wasn't on sale or anything. I was just like, I need to play this game. I need to play the whole thing. What an amazing game.
Mm-hmm. And they released a soundtrack sampler because they don't have the rights to sell all of the music.
Oh goodness.
But they're hoping to.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Tetris player, but I could understand if you did ever play Tetris and were a big fan and were haunted by the Tetris effect. Maybe haunted's not the right word. Blessed with the Tetris effect. This I can definitely say, even as a person who isn't a Tetris player, is definitely a game you need to have. I definitely enjoyed it playing the demo, and it's cool. It's neat when someone, especially the creator, I didn't know that story. The creator of Lumines is able to bring together sound and light on top of the Tetris effect. That's a really, it's kind of freaky actually, to be honest. But it's next level is my point.
When I'm stressed, this is the game I play. Just to chill out, I'll just be like, yeah, fuck Tetris right now. Just gonna chill on my couch.
Like a game that they play when they're stressed.
Yeah, have you ever wondered what in that Star Trek episode in TNG when like the whole crew was infected by that weird eyeball game that they were playing in VR?
Yeah,
it's Tetris Effect.
Nice.
Everyone get Tetris Effect, and then we'll be invaded, and then it'll be cool because we'll be playing Tetris Effect,
and we'll be invaded with fun techno music.
Yeah, and Crush will have to save us.
Shut up, Wesley.
Anyone else play this other than me and Schaus? And
not yet, no.
Oh, get it. I think it's only on Epic Store on PC, which I think is silly. But definitely get it. I'm debating buying this on PC just so I can have it for future. Because
and then get it on Switch too.
The good thing about playing it on PC is that you'll have it forever in your libraries, and hopefully, future architectures will allow you to still play it.
Wondering, out of the games that you've mentioned so far, I don't have or haven't played probably about. I think I haven't played really any of them actually.
You should play them all.
Which one would you recommend I play first if I were to?
I was going to say at the beginning of this whole discussion, I mean, it really depends on what you consider a game, right? Because obviously Tetris Effect, as Erik just said, when he wants to relax, is like the perfect kind of detachment, right? Sort of game. Whereas Odyssey, right, is a type of game where if you want to spend the time exploring and making connections and stuff, right? So it really depends on what you're looking for,
Odyssey, I like to just explore the world. Like if I want to just do mindless stuff, I'll play Odyssey, or Witcher 3, which is coming up on my list. Tetris Effect, definitely if I'm stressed, I'll play it. But if I wanted like hardcore play something that'll depress me, I'll play my number one game, which is The Last of Us.
Yeah, because you need that. Yeah, everyone needs that every once in a while, right?
Well, it's also like I like going through the emotions of the game, right? Yeah. Because it's such a roller coaster, and I love the relationship between Ellie and Joel.
Well, we'll get to that one. Yeah,
we'll get to it. Yeah. The one if I definitely said the one that I would recommend, it would be my number one. This is definitely in order from to my favorite game of the day.
Okay, I was going to ask that actually, so that's good to know.
Yeah. So number 4, The Legend of Zelda. I don't know if did I answer your question, Michael?
No, definitely. It just depends on how you're feeling at the time.
Exactly.
So yeah, if I'm looking for something to relax or de-stress, Tetris.
Oh yeah, chill out.
If I have a lot of time to kill and like I don't know, my wife goes away for a weekend or something. Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
If your wife goes away a weekend, I would definitely play Control.
Okay.
Because you could probably beat it in a weekend.
Yeah, it's not super long.
In Assassin's Creed, you'll probably get through the first level in a weekend.
Yeah.
Control, because you wouldn't have any distractions, you could really get engrossed in the story.
Yeah, it's got that thing where it will take you to a different place, and it's worth the journey and the exploration. So yeah, and it's not super long. So
I did like Alan Wake a lot. So if that's anything to
you will definitely love Control.
Yeah.
I replayed Alan Wake a little while ago because it was free on the Epic Store. And having just played Control right before it, I was like, oh, yes, I remember a lot of these feelings.
I thought something happened to the music licensing and they aren't allowed to sell it anymore, or like
I don't know. I think all the rights went back to Remedy, so I think everything was fine because I know they took it off of Steam and all of the online stores, but it came back, I think, a year or two ago. So, we'll see. Number 4, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So there's an asterisk on this because I played it originally on the Wii U and I thought it was fucking horrible. But
language, Padre, language.
It all gets censored anyway, whatever.
Yeah, it does. But then I played it on the Switch and I was like, holy shit, this is a good game because it was optimized for the Switch. So all the loading that I had to deal with on the Wii U and all the jankiness was gone. There were times when it was just like, okay, I guess the loading screen for the temples and stuff, right? You just be sitting there like, well, it's been a couple minutes. I guess I will go get a coffee or something. So this is the latest entry into the Legend of Zelda franchise. It's also the first open world Zelda since the first Zelda. And this is in timeline wise, the last story. So everything, even the split timelines, everything that happened in all the Zelda games happened before this. This happens hundreds of years afterwards.
And they're making a sequel to it too.
They are making a sequel. And the rumored title has been floating around today, but I'm not going to say it because it's not verified or there's only one site reporting that.
Right.
So this game, they really wanted to break into the RPG elements. You can craft things. You can your weapons break down and degrade and everything. It's totally a revamp of the Legend of Zelda, formula. And you know what? It's fun. It's good. It's
Damn right.
I want to explore the whole game, even after going through the Wii U shitty version. So I very much enjoyed this game, and as someone who didn't like it originally, I think that's a mark of a game, at least one that has been properly done. Zelda players, where are you at?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just one divine beast into the game.
Only one?
Yeah. It's amazing because I so remember you kind of poo-pooing on the game like when it was originally
Poo-pooing?
you. Yeah, totally. That effing game.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I kept showing up on all the top 10 lists for the year and that as a recent Switch owner and that this was like my number one to get on there. And I'm glad I did. It's the physics in the game and that, as you said, it's open world, the first open world since the first game and that, but this is really open world in that when you go out looking for stuff, it feels like an expedition.
Yeah. You can see that climbing and then you get tired. You can't make it all the way up.
Yeah. And if you want to go on that mountain, you can definitely go on that mountain, but you got to make sure you're ready for it. You can go anywhere you can see, which is incredible.
Yeah. That just reminds me of all those Todd Howard memes. See them?
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah. That sounds like Skyrim advertising, except it's true this time.
But actually true. Yeah, exactly. I think this is also a game that when they first released it, they didn't want to, release it unfinished, so they kept on delaying it, and because he didn't want to release something that was so close to what he had experienced as a child. The creator, what's his name? Oh my God, Mario creator Miyamoto. He was the original inspiration for the Zelda games was when he was a child. He used to go and explore into the caves and the surroundings around his house when he was a child, and that's how Zelda happened. Wow. He used to go up mountains and stuff. So this is pretty much his childhood in 3D form, and it's such a testament of his creativity. It's such a good game.
I mean, it does have that controversial mechanic that I still don't enjoy, where your weapons will break after you've used them.
I hate that. I hate that mechanic. I feel like that's so.
But dated. I mean, once you get used to it, I guess it's fine. But I mean, I feel like it would have been a much better game if it had maybe less weepons and they didn't break. But I mean,
I think that's kind of. I think that was kind of a cool mechanic in that it wasn't about chasing like getting a certain weapons in your collection and that, you got this, super powerful +10 sword. So you're going to advance through the, next section pretty easy in that. The fact that it didn't make it kind of makes it more about exploration and collecting and that. And like the farming element in it is actually very, very useful. Unlike with some games where it's like it gives you the option for mixing, potions, elixirs, health agents that you might use, you might not use in that. You're going to use everything you find in this game.
It also makes the Master Sword and the Hylian shield more. There's something more special about them once you get them.
They're not just powerful, but you want them because you finally get a weapon that's not going to break.
Yeah. They both break, but it takes
they recharge. A
long time. Yeah, definitely get it. Play it. Do it.
Yeah, I got to buy a Nintendo Switch first.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, there's no new versions of the Switch being released this year, so the current one that they have is the one that is fine.
I think I've seen too many memes about Nintendo Switch people.
All true.
All right. Number 3. Number 3, Mass Effect 2, BioWare's middle entry in their action role-playing space opera video game. It was released on PC, Xbox 360, and PS3. This game takes place within the Milky Way galaxy, released in the 22nd century, where the humanity is threatened by an species known as the Collectors. Very nice shows. The player assumes the role of Commander Shepard, an elite human soldier who must construct and gain the loyalty of a diverse team to stop the enemy. BioWare changed a lot of the features from the first game to make this game much better. From what I remember, they
It
fixed a lot of the shooting stuff.
It was better to play. I think the writing was better, and there were elements of the first game that I missed. There was a lot more RPG elements. So when you got really into the first game, you could
they went.
You could like have explosive ammo on your guns and have like armor that reduced heat sink and like just so much you could do with the first game that you can do in the second game. It was a little bit disappointing, but the story made up for it.
Yeah, I think
driving around in your Rover.
Yeah, I think
they never got
Mass
those
Effect
vehicles
2.
right. The vehicles always were terrible in all the games.
Yeah, they really went the third person shooter for Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, cover shooter.
And I think they tried to do the RPG stuff, RPG stuff for Andromeda, and we know how that went.
Yeah.
But I think one of the coolest parts of Mass Effect 2 was this sort of idea of, building up your team and going and finding all of their backstories and going on this.
And it was a team that you cared about.
Yeah,
Unlike
you cared about
Andromeda.
so much.
Yes.
My God,
I love that game.
What, Andromeda?
No, this one.
Two.
Mass
Okay.
Effect 2.
Actually,
Why do we keep saying Andromeda? Stop saying it.
I didn't realize this was this came out in the last decade till I saw it on your list. I thought it was earlier than that.
Yeah,
Me too. It was the first one I checked because I was like, I think it was then, and it was just on the tip. So
Just a tip.
just the tip. This game I thought it was one of the games that had DLC that was really important
was good
to the
DLC.
game.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it wasn't just tacked on, and I appreciated BioWare for that.
Yeah. Well, especially. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, they'll go fine.
Well, wasn't the whole issue like Liara? The Shadow Broker plotline is from 2, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So people were disappointed that she wasn't more prominent, and the DLC helped mitigate, what the fans felt was lacking, right? Like they actually addressed it, and it wasn't like a tacked on thing. Like it was actually really interesting, and it really added, to the storyline. So no, the DLC was not only just exciting and expansive, but some of it actually addressed community, concerns. It was like a great time to be a Mass Effect fan.
And the Shadow Broker stuff was important for Mass Effect 3. Like it wasn't just a throwaway thing. Also, this game is important enough that I named my daughter after one of the characters.
Yep.
So,
Oh yeah.
Yep, Shepherd.
Impressive.
Your little daughter, Shepherd.
my little daughter Shepherd.
Yeah, evil
My daughter's
Shepherd.
name is Liara. So
Little Garrus running around there.
It's pretty badass, actually.
I'm pretty sure none of us would say this is not deserving of a spot on here, right?
No,
absolutely.
this is a great game. It's
this is
fantastic.
This is probably the last time I was not disappointed in a BioWare entry.
I liked Inquisition. Didn't you like Inquisition?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that game.
That was the last actual
That was
proper game by them.
Yeah,
Yes.
fair enough.
But that was the one thing I found was that I felt like BioWare took a lot of what worked with the Dragon Age games and applied those mechanics to Mass Effect as they went along. Well, that doesn't count. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
No, they just took the money from Dragon Age to make Andromeda.
Yeah.
Well, no, I found that the enemies in Andromeda worked a lot like the Inquisition enemies, like the AI, the way that their health bars worked, which I continue, and I will always say that I hate the bullet sponge elements of these games. Like what I liked, a game that did it really well actually was Horizon Zero Dawn, and I don't know if you guys have played that.
Yeah.
But
that was on my tier too.
Yeah, it's on the list too.
But that game did fighting big things with huge health bars excellently, because the things would fall apart as you fought them, and Monster Hunter did it as well. And I don't think it did it as good as Horizon Zero Dawn. Like every single impact in Horizon Zero Dawn had a chance of like knocking a metal plate away from these like giant dinosaurs or robots or whatever they were.
Robo-dinos.
Yeah. So I honestly think that adds so much to the immersion of the experience of playing these games. And but anyway, back to Mass Effect 2, great game.
No, that's true. Like, because the Division had a lot of there was a lot of people who thought the same thing. So in the Division 2, they added a lot of armor on the enemies, so you'd see it fall off of them. And if you took off certain aspects and you could hit their actual skin, you'd do more damage, which was amazing. I thought that was a great part of Division.
And that's what makes those games great, is because you're actually applying like reality and physics to things, where it's like, yes, if you keep shooting armor, it will stop working because you will shoot through it.
Yeah, exactly.
And like with Monster Hunter, where you hack at the same part of a monster, it's going to have a giant wound there that you can target, and it's going to hurt more.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
all right,
with sorry, I just wanted to say with Mass Effect 2, I mean, it's definitely a case of fallen titans at this point. But I mean, I will say, despite everything that's happened since Mass Effect 2, despite all of that, which is a big statement, yeah, that's a game that I would happily go back and replay, a few more times.
It still holds up. I played on PC not too long ago,
and I was about to ask, how does it work on current PCs with our current world of shooters?
It still works fine. It looks a little,
some of it's,
but it still plays good,
humorously janky. I mean, if BioWare ever wants to actually save themselves, all they just need to do is just remake all those games. Just take the audio and just like put it in a nice engine, and then they'll be doing what Square Enix is doing now. So
I remember picking up the PS4. Was it the PS4 or the 3? They did a box set of Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. For the 3.
Yeah, they never remastered it for 4.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
exactly. So
I remember getting even the remaster version because they put they basically fixed a lot of the problems with, like, not the problems, but the updated graphics with 1 and 2. So it matched up with what was there with 3.
A little bit. It's not 100%.
Yeah.
No, but it was a lot cleaner, like comparatively. Like, and also I was going from having played them on the 360 to a PS3. So all of a sudden I'm like, this is so shiny and pretty. I love it.
Fair enough. All right. Number 2, CD Projekt Red's The Witcher 3, an open world action role-playing game based on the Witcher series by Andrzej Sapkowski. The players take control of Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter / Witcher who is looking for his missing adopted daughter, Ciri, who is on the run from the Wild Hunt, an otherworldly force determined to capture her and use her powers. So this is one of those games where it's an open world game, but your choices in the game actually, determine which ending you get. And there are many endings. They also released 2 really big DLCs, Heart of Stone and Blood and Wine. And those in themselves were like 20 plus hours. So this is one of those games, this game company, CD Projekt Red, really loves their fans. They're passionate about their games, and it shows in the product. This game was so good. 2015, I'm still playing this game now. Like 5 years later, this game is...
Was it 2015?
Yeah.
It still looks
felt so
good.
much sooner.
Yeah, it's still one of the best looking games I have on my PC, which is phenomenal. It's available on PC, PS4, Xbone, and the Nintendo Switch.
I finally got my wife to start playing it, and she couldn't put it down.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. It's so it's so compelling. Even if you haven't played 2 or 1, the characters leap off the screen. They're just so likable, or at least Geralt is not a happy person, but he's
a funny person. He's very funny.
Yeah.
He lightens up more in 3 than he was in 2. In 2, he was just all business all the time.
Yeah, that's true. That's what happens when you deal with assassins all through the game.
I was going to say the one thing I really do like about this is that CD Projekt Red makes a point of, like, they spend the time on these games. They're not just like, oh, this is popular, and they pump another one out. It's looking back at it, it's literally every 4 years they've released a Witcher game, because the first one was 2007, and then 11 for 2, and then 15 for 3. So they spend the time on it to make it work.
And they're definitely one of those game companies that won't release a game if it's not 100% ready.
Just the only reason why I'm okay with being disappointed at the delay on Cyberpunk is I'm like, if they're delaying it, there's a reason, and it means it's going to be good.
Exactly.
They're not going to be like, oh, here's a day 1 patch because we wanted to get it out in time, like so many other companies have been doing as of late.
Did you guys play The Witcher 3 when it first came out? Like in 2015?
No, I got it after the fact.
So I got it on launch.
Yeah. So, Michael, do you remember how janky the menu systems were back then, and how much they fixed all of that over the years?
I don't remember. No.
Oh man, it was so weird when like playing it now compared to what it was then, because everything flows so much better. So they continually improve the game even after it's out. Like, it was a good game, they just made it way better. So good. I love companies like that.
I actually don't remember how the menus worked at all when it first came out.
That's a good thing. Remember that. Not garbage, but
I don't remember it being an issue for me. So obviously I don't remember, and I don't remember the change. So I don't think I ever had a problem with it. It was like something that I just dealt with, and it was like, oh, that's part of the game. Whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. They just made it better.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's it. I mean, if they're going to give you a patch on something that's just going to improve the quality as opposed to fixing a problem, good on
So
them.
they talked about, continuing the Witcher universe, and I'm like wondering how that's going to take shape. Like what the next game is going to be. Is it going to follow Geralt or they said no. So it's like, do I even want to play as anybody else? Like at this point?
Well, that's interesting because I know they didn't want to go more into this series because they had issues with Andrzej Sapkowski, the author of the Witcher series. They were going, they had some rights issues, but they have,
they settled those.
They have mended. They've settled it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's gonna build something around, other characters in the game.
I think it'd almost be nice for them to go back and redo 1 and 2 because it's been so long since they came out. Like they could literally go back and using the engine they have for it now, put those games on the new engine so people can play them again.
It'd be nice to see what Kaer Morhen and the world was like before the Witchers were all sort of wiped out.
Right? Yeah.
I think that would be.
Yeah, they could go backwards, like almost prequel-y territory, and just see what happens.
I hate prequels. I might be in the minority here, but I can't stand prequels. That's why I didn't like the new Red Dead Redemption. I just don't like prequel games.
Was it a prequel? I never played it, so
yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, Red Dead 2 takes place before. Wait, there's 3 games in that series, right? Revolver, Redemption, and then Redemption 2. But yeah, Redemption 2 takes place before Redemption.
Revolver.
Red Dead
It's
Revolver.
technically part of the series, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Weird.
Anyway.
I don't like any game that involves me having to stare at a horse's ass walking around for hours.
But The Witcher 3 you do that.
It's not a bug, it's a feature. It's going to sound like Todd Howard.
Yeah, well, yeah, but with The Witcher, you can move the camera. With Red Dead, you're locked behind that.
They had people program the testicles on those horses to rot cold, okay? I mean, you got to look at that, right?
I know.
See the quality.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm not going to give them my $85 to pay a programmer that had to design horse balls for weeks on end.
So here's a game
that's on somebody's resume.
So that's a choice, just because choices.
That would be
so let's go to number 1 where there are no horse balls.
Can I add something really quick
go
about
for
The
it.
Witcher?
Yeah.
Just like one of the things that really caught me in that game is just the intricate details, like the little story elements that you might potentially pass over. Some of them are just written into some of the quests, but they just sort of tug on your heartstrings. Like I remember seeing, like you find like a dead body, and then you find like a letter next to the body, and you read the letter, and it's this letter to this character's father or something, and it was just in the environment. It wasn't part of the storyline. It was just out there.
Yeah.
And you find it, and you suddenly have this emotional connection with this story moment that was just there for you to discover.
And then later you'll go to like a random house and you'll talk to someone, and they'll be looking for that person, right?
Yeah.
And you just wouldn't even know that it's like,
you're like, oh no.
It was an actual connected world. It feels real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best kind of world building that doesn't actually happen very often. So yeah, that's powerful. That's good. Because Mass Effect 2 arguably has that, not to the same degree that The Witcher does, but it had that connective tissue, which is why I think we have such fond memories. Sorry.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, for those who have only seen the TV show, Jaskier is Dandelion in the game. Dandelion was the name they used in the English translation of the book, so they went with that in the video game. Jaskier is the Polish name that they used in the original books.
Does it translate to Dandelion?
Approximately, I think.
I don't know. We'll find out. That's a thing we'll add in a later episode when we do the Witcher episode.
There you
go. Stay tuned.
All right, my number 1. Finally, we're at this number 1. The Last of Us. The action-adventure survival horror game by Naughty Dog. Players control Joel, a smuggler tasked with escorting a teenage girl, Ellie, across a post-apocalyptic United States. Players use firearms, improvised weapons, and stealth to defend against hostile humans and people infected by a mutated strand of the cordyceps fungus. The original score was composed by Gustavo Santaolalla. And I think what was special about this game is the relationship between Joel and Ellie. That was the focus of the game. All the acting by Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson, who portrayed Joel and Ellie, was just beautiful. I think this has some of the best voice acting, motion capture, music in any game. tugs on your heartstrings. Everything seems so special about it. If you play the game, play it on the mode where you don't have the Echo 3D effect, and then just play it the way they wanted you to play it. It's such a good game. I can't recommend this game enough.
I thought it was boring. I'm just kidding.
I almost peed myself. Heart attack. But yeah, has everyone played this game?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna. Did you guys do the multiplayer at all? I loved it.
I did. I loved it too.
Yeah. I broke the shit out of it though. I found out like before they might have patched it out eventually, but when the game first came out, you could just take bandages and heal people, and then like be top of the scoreboard just by.
Yep. Yeah. I remember that was an exploit. Yeah.
I did that too. That's amazing. I love that you could connect to Facebook, so your friends could be dying in the game, in the multiplayer aspect. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that was weird. Having the Facebook images come up as the people. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I feel like if this person died in the video game, I should probably unfriend them on Facebook.
Goodness. But yeah, no, that was, I mean, there's a lot of games that I think dramatically had an impact on us, but that was just, this was just a great story, and it was just told really well. And I often think about, how like Roger Ebert many years ago, like he made some disparaging comment about like video games and just basically
people do.
Yeah, well, he had this notion that you would never be able to get like the same storytelling, cinematic quality as film in video games. And I always come back to this like every year when I encounter yet another. They're never going to replace cinema, but there are certain types of storytelling immersions that are at least equivalent or divergent from cinema that are very worthwhile. And Last of Us is one of the best examples of a powerful story on all levels.
Yeah, a lot of boomers do that. Like Sapowski did.
Boomer.
Yeah. Sapowski did the same thing with The Witcher, where he said, this was when he was fighting with CD Projekt Red, but he was like, video games aren't a good medium for storytelling, and there's really only one response to that.
Yeah. Well, it was his fault. He wanted a flat rate instead of getting a percentage of the games, and then after it blew up.
Realized, oh, wait, hold on.
I guess I can get more money. This video game thing will take off. It was ridiculous. Yeah. But this game, The Last of Us, there's the first 10 minutes, I don't think I have been affected by a video game that much in anything.
Yeah. We can't say anything, but oh, man. Yeah. If you ever want to basically disprove the emotional impact of a game, you just play the first 10 minutes of that to show what a game can do to you.
I think everybody's played it. We can probably spoil it. I mean,
yeah. Okay.
Just in case someone hasn't. If you haven't played it, there's a YouTube channel called Retro Replay. It's Troy Baker and Nolan North, and they go and play video games. They actually Nolan North had never played this game. So he sat down with Troy Baker and a couple of the other actresses in the game, and they had him play through it. So just watch the emotional impact. You can see the actors, like, it still affects them, like when they watch the scenes that they did together.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's such a great YouTube channel.
That sounds cool.
Just check it out. So this is not just my number one of the last 10 years. This is actually my favorite game of all time.
Nice.
And they put out a remaster for PS4 for this one as well.
Yeah.
Which meant I had to play that 10 minutes again.
And it hurts more now that I'm a parent too.
Exactly.
It's crazy. But yeah. All right. We're done my list after many, many discussions. Was there anything that I didn't add onto my list that you guys think should have been popped on?
All right, I'll take this one.
Yeah, let's go with Michael first. I was going to go with you first anyway.
So there's a few. And it all boils down to taste, right? So
exactly.
I really enjoyed Skyrim. I would put Skyrim on the list. When you and this is mostly for those of us that have a PC. When you mod the shit out of Skyrim, you turn it into like a completely different game. You revamp the combat system. You can make it into something that's amazing and fun to play. Revamp the leveling system to add more perks and make it more of like an RPG experience than the kind of like watered down like milquetoast experience that Todd Howard made it into from Oblivion and Morrowind before that. Like there's no spell crafting system. You can get mods that add like thousands of spells. So
I may have to ask you that because I got bored with Skyrim when I originally played it. So
yeah,
I definitely would love some mods.
Yeah, and there's mods that add entire like voiced like quest lines and things like that, and a lot of them are very good. And Bethesda's only starting to catch up to what modders have been doing with their new paid mods that you can get. They've started adding quests and custom content like that, but none of it's voiced yet. So they're still not like at the point where modders have been since like a year after release, which is crazy. But Skyrim makes it onto my list. I've spent a lot of time, and I noticed that you don't have any RTS games on your RTS or like I forget what the term is for games like Civ.
Real-time strategy. I was going to put Civ 6 on there.
Civ isn't a real-time strategy. It's like a 5. I forget what the actual term is for Civ, but we can just lump it into RTS. But it's like there is a term for that type of game, and it's eluding me right now. And I'll think of it like an hour after the podcast.
it's like 4E or something.
Yeah,
it's like
it's like
explore, expand.
Oh, that's 4X.
Yeah. 4X. Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Explore, expand. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
something else.
two other X's.
Yeah. So Civ 5 probably makes it onto the list. I've played a lot of Civ 5. I would say Total War Warhammer 2 is a mixture of RTS and 4X, and I would put it on. The list. I love that game. I've played a lot.
Yeah. If I put an RTS on there, I played a shit ton of StarCraft 2.
Okay.
Yeah. StarCraft 2.
Yeah. That was the. No, that came out.
That was earlier.
2009. That was 2009.
It was 2010.
Was it?
Really?
July 27th, 2010.
Okay. All right. I just remember. I remember playing it in class in university, and I was like, okay. So yeah, and then probably Stellaris, which was another weird 4X RTS like merger, and you could do a lot of fun stuff with that game. I actually got I got a mod for that allowed you to change like the voice of all your ships to they like ripped the audio from the Dawn of War games.
Yeah.
And so
I have to try this now. That's going to be the first thing I put on my new computer is this is 40K modded Stellaris.
So I played Orcs, and I ripped the Orc audio. And so you like click stuff with your like construction ships, and you're like, right away. Oh yeah, crump the git. And I don't know, it'd be pretty fun.
This is one of those games that I have in my Steam library that I've never played, Stellaris.
But you could do a lot of really cool stuff with that. Like you could develop your space civilization in so many different ways, and there's so many different traits that you could add to people. You could have like strong like soldiers, and then you would be like very much into landing your troops on planets. I don't know, and there's different stuff like it's hard to explain, but there's also like a rock paper scissors element to it in the space combat where like mass weapons like physical weapons are good against shields, and lance weapons are good against armor, and so you build a fleet composition that is like good against certain things or good against everything. And you think about that when you're crafting all the different parts to your ships, and your ships have power supplies, but on top of that there's also like a resource management and empire management system, and it's all in real time, so you can like slow the game down or speed it up. It's everything about it's real cool. You can pause it if you want to too. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that game. So those are the 3 like RTS type games that I would that I'd probably add in, and then I would add in Skyrim, and then I met my wife on League of Legends. So even though that game is probably responsible for some of my worst behavior online, I would have to throw it in there. And then my 2 most played games on Steam, as I mentioned probably before the podcast, are these like survival building crafting games. Ark Survival Evolved, and I love dinosaurs, so it has to be in there. And I know that's going to be controversial. Like a lot of people don't like those types of games. If you like them though, that's probably the best one. And then Conan Exiles, which is another game in that vein. But that had a lot of really good role-playing servers. So I was on our RP PvP server where I had like a bunch of different characters, and it had permadeath. So once you died, you died. But that was cool.
Yeah. These are those games that I I enjoy, but I think I enjoy more with people. And then I have people that just drop off, and then I don't like playing those games by myself.
I have friends that I played with and they stopped playing, but then by the time they stopped playing, I kind of integrated with the server communities. So it balanced out for me. But yeah, I don't know. Those are a bunch of the games that I had fun playing. I would throw Dragon Age Inquisition in there as well.
That is a good game.
And
I forgot how much I played that game too on PS4.
Yeah, that game was great. I played so many different characters on that, and I being a completionist, I 100%ed every point of interest on every map.
Oh, good lord!
And every time I do a playthrough, without fail, I stop playing in the first area. I get about 75% of the way through all the different points of interest, and I'm like, okay, I can't play this game anymore.
Fair.
So I can't. It has no replay value for me, even though there should be replay value. But yeah, that's good. And then Doom 2016. I haven't been an FPS guy in a while, but that game, holy shit, that game. I actually started playing online for that game again, and I was getting pretty good at the online for it. I had it on Xbox One before I sold my Xbox One because there's no good games on it.
Yeah.
So
that's the only game where you, as the player, get the awesome boss music the whole game.
Yep.
Right. Normally you get the boss music as an awesome. Yeah, you are the badass boss the whole game. It's so awesome.
It was beautiful. I love that game so much. That was and the next one comes out in a month, and I'm gonna.
Didn't it get pushed?
I think it's getting pushed back a little bit.
No. It got pushed. It was supposed to come out December. They pushed it back to March.
It got pushed to the next month. Okay.
Yeah, no, they've been promoting it everywhere.
So I'm going to grab it. It's going to be the only game I buy this year. Not that I'm not going to get other games new, but it's going to be the only.
You should get Cyberpunk this year as well.
What? I do want to support CD Projekt Red, so I'll buy that one too. I'll buy Cyberpunk, and I'll buy Doom Eternal.
Last of Us 2.
If it ever comes out.
If it comes out this year, maybe I'll buy that too.
Nice.
Those are my additions to the list. Does anybody have any critiques of those?
You know what? All of those were good. I never played Ark or those. I played a little bit, but most of my friends on the PC just sort of, whenever something new and shiny comes on, they'll just switch to that, and then I'm by myself, and I don't like doing that. But Doom 100%. That was one of those games that I had in my top 10 over and over.
Well, if you do find yourself having some free time, I just reinstalled Ark, and I was planning to hop onto a server and play, but
we'll see. If my child ever goes to bed, I'll play those games.
Yeah. For me, Skyrim again, the fun game, loved it. Definitely an improvement over. I really did not get into Oblivion, and I tried to, I just couldn't. Skyrim, I was able to get into a little more, which was kind of nice. It was good, mindless hack and slash fun.
You really made me want to install Stellaris now that I realize it's in my Steam library.
Yeah, I've got it in my library too.
It's a good 4X. It's a good 4X if that's the kind of thing you want.
There was there's a Star Trek mod for Stellaris too that I've never actually had a chance to install. But
do it.
Could be fun.
Arkham. I got to throw Arkham City out there.
Yep.
Arkham City / Arkham Knight, both of them, because they kind of go hand in hand.
I would put more City on there than Knight.
City more so. I mean, Knight was prettier. City had the better story.
Yeah.
Knight also had the car, right?
I didn't like the car stuff.
I felt they overused it because they're like, hey, we finally did the mechanic. We're going to do this. And they kind of overdid it to death a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But that being said, it was a nice addition.
You can blow up these fully automated tanks because we want you to be able to blow up stuff, but we don't want you to actually kill people.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, Arkham City, because again, it was the second chapter after Arkham Asylum, which was a breakaway hit, and it gave Mark Hamill the chance to say goodbye to and Kevin Conroy to say goodbye to those characters
for a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, it gave us a definitive end to the Joker, and no one got butthurt about it, which was a surprising instance there.
Yeah, that's true.
And I also found every time I played those games, I got excited for what villains they were going to bring in to see how they created them, how they redid them in the games.
Yeah, we were talking about the
Arkham Origins,
the crocodile or not Killer Croc,
and
how amazing they were in the show.
Yeah, Yeah, no, just I was a big fan of what they did with those characters. Like every time they bring a character into the game, it was an event, it was a thing, and they found a way to bring in a lot of characters that didn't have a lot of light shone on them at the time.
Yeah, we take for granted a lot of the characters that people know now because of the movies and TV shows. But very obscure characters were pulled in, and
well, like the one that jumps out to me right out of the gate that actually was in Arkham City, and it was the character that Hawk brought up when we did our Batman episode, which was Deacon Blackfire.
Right.
That was the first time I ever heard of that character, and then I did the research and went back and read the comics that he was talking about, and I was like, I love that character. It's amazing.
Hugo Strange, right? Too.
Hugo Strange was a
Calendar Man randomly in the game too.
Calendar Man with the coolest in-game Easter egg ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about completionist, that was the most annoying chore ever. But damn it was so worth it when you finally got that year.
Yeah.
For those that don't know what we're talking about, in Arkham City, in the basement of the Gotham jail is Calendar Man, who was a featured character from like The Long Halloween and a few other comics. He's locked up, and if you go back there, if you go visit him in game every major holiday, at the end of a year's worth of those holidays, you get an achievement for it.
Or you can change the date on your PlayStation and do the same thing.
You used to be able to. They patched that, and you can't do it anymore because they found out people were doing that, and they patched it so you had to actually do it real time.
That's hilarious.
Because they're like, if you're going to do it, commit to it. I was like, God damn it. Okay, you guys are savages, but I love it. Arkham City, Skyrim. I'm going to throw out The Witcher 2, which was 2011. That's what that game got me into the series as a whole, both the books and the games. I picked it up on a whim because it looked kind of neat, and I was at EB. I'm like, I have some money, I want to get a game. The guy's like, you should try this, it's pretty good. And I played it, and I was like, it's really, really hard, and the mechanics are difficult. I'm going to put it down, and I put it down for like 6 months. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to actually pick it up. I'm going to power through this. And I did, and I was like, my God, that game was massive. Loved it. Just the world that it created made me so happy. I love that game. And without 2, we would have had no 3.
Yeah, 2 was actually really good. A lot of them.
I never actually finished 2.
Yeah, I don't know if I did either, to be honest.
It took me 3 months of like solid gameplay to get through it. It was long.
They remastered it. So
did they?
Yeah. Well, not remastered it. They sort of updated it's enhanced now.
Oh, okay. Is it for what?
PC.
Console? Oh, whatever. I'm not playing on a PC. I don't have a PC to play on.
Yeah, we'll make you one.
Yeah. The last one I have, and I don't know if you guys spoke about it. I'm sure you probably did when I was in transit. Is God of War.
Nope.
Oh, God of War 2018.
That boy.
That was a good game.
I love that. I love the game. I love that they were able to take an established franchise and reinvent the wheel with it.
Yeah.
Where they gave you Kratos, but they gave you a slightly different Kratos,
and
made you fall in love with it again.
I never thought God of War plus Son would have been, compelling, but they did it, and he didn't seem like a hindrance to the story or the gameplay.
Not at all.
I own that game, and I haven't played it yet. And
you need to play that game.
Yeah,
it's just solid game.
Okay,
we're going to be added.
I was about to buy Odyssey.
No, just play God of War.
No, play God of War. Yeah.
It's delightfully frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Valkyries.
Once you get mid game and it opens up, like, but once they open up the realms, it gets really frustrating because you're like, you have to walk that line between, do I want to just finish the game or do I want to complete the game? And if you want to complete the game, you're in for a long haul. If you want to finish the game, it's not that bad. You can do it with relative ease.
But if you want to platinum the game, strap in.
Well, strap in. You're going to be out of a while. Those Valkyries, you will cuss out.
Yeah.
I remember going to each and every one of those.
And Muspelheim too. Mm-hmm. That freaking mountain.
Once you defeat, once you kill about 4 Valkyries, the rest become a little bit easier.
Yes.
The first 3 are pretty hard.
Yeah.
The other fun thing with God of War, which I love, and I'm sure you guys know about, is there is an Infinity Gauntlet Easter egg in the game.
Yeah, fun.
There's a lot of fun Easter eggs.
There's a gauntlet attachment that you can find, and there are certain runes that if you attach it, it basically mimics the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
It's very cool. But again, that one's like you have to go out of your way to find them, and it's not easy. But if you do it, it is one of the best weapons to have in the game.
Wasn't there like in-game text about it too, which is funny?
It's the only way you know which runes to use because it hints at the fact that they're Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
And based off like what they're meant to do. So you have to know what each Infinity Stone does, and then figure out how to attach them properly.
I think what I loved about this game was also the cliffhanger ending, which made me want to play more of this game and throw my controller at the TV at the same time. It was such a good way to end this game, and knowing that they're not doing DLC and they're just doing another game made it hurt a little bit more.
That bothered me a lot.
But they're not doing another game?
No, they are.
Oh, they are doing. They're not doing another game, but they're not doing DLC.
I completely heard what you said backwards.
But that bothered me because I'm like, there's still realms that they have that you haven't unlocked that you cannot access in the game. But like, don't put them there and tease me with it if I'm not going to be able to go there. That's just rude.
And then it's going to be a couple of years before it comes out.
Sure, we'll have Cyberpunk to keep us busy until then.
Exactly. All right.
I've got a couple of quick games I can add. Yeah. Okay. So going through the list, actually, some of these games, because in the past decade, I became a father, and some of these games actually are important to me because they're games that I play with my kids. And they're games that I put many, many, many hours into. One of them was actually part of that whole, I don't know if it was a phase that we were going through with the games that you would buy toys for.
Oh yeah,
Skylanders.
Yeah, well, no, specifically the one I'm choosing is Lego Dimensions.
That was the best of them. Yeah,
I bought almost all of the Lego kits that went along with that. And
how did that game fail? It was Lego.
Oh, it was so
video
good.
Game form.
It was
with Legos,
and it had all of your favorite franchises attached to it. You could play the Ghostbusters world, the Doctor Who world, the Back to the Future, the Jurassic Park. Like everything was in there. That you could,
and they got a lot of the voice actors to do it.
Yeah, and
the actual actors, which is crazy.
Yeah, the Doctor Who one is amazing. That's the best Doctor Who game out there. Is the Lego Dimensions expansion, but it's solid for a game and for Doctor Who. So I highly recommend it. Oh, and the Portal one too. Oh man, the Lego Dimensions is fantastic.
The Portal one, the Harry Potter one was really good. Basically, it was the Lego games were the games that my son really got into video gaming playing. Like he got really good at the Lego games, and so Lego Dimensions was something cool where I could just I could come home and be like, hey, look what I bought, and I've got like a kit for whatever Ghostbusters or something, and then we would just put it all together and play it on the weekend, and it was just a blast. And yeah, it's really sad that the game was discontinued. For a little while there, I was able to get some of the kits really cheap, and then they all vanished. And then
they still show up in dollar stores every so often.
Yeah, I'm always on the lookout. So Lego Dimensions is one of them. Minecraft is a game that I played a ton of.
Didn't that come out in 2009?
No, the original beta came out in 2009. It was released in 2011.
Fair. I'll give you that.
There's a lot of stuff that came out in 2011.
Yeah, but Minecraft was sort of like those survival games.
It was like the proto survival,
and it's another one that's just if you want to kill some time and you like, there's so many mechanics, especially now, like what things have added to that game.
Do you still have your server?
No, that was actually our friend Rick that had the server. And I remember going in and playing that with other people, building worlds. Great game. And I got two more. Pokemon Go. I think it's the only mobile game that we've mentioned today. But I mean, I put hundreds and hundreds of hours. I still play that game daily. I'm always out, making sure that I'm spinning Pokestops, catching, the latest. The game's been out for 3 years now. When did it come out? 2016. Yeah. So we're coming into its fourth year.
You gotta get your steps in and opening those eggs.
Oh, absolutely. And then my last one was my sort of game of the decade is Diablo 3, and I played a ton of Diablo 3. And we were joking sort of off recording that that's a that can be a spreadsheet game for some people, and that's really the way that I played it. Me and a friend would play that game in such a specific way that when a new season would start, we would be fully leveled, like power leveled within like the first couple of hours, all the way up, and then we'd already start working.
Did you do leaderboards?
We would, like, for the various seasons, we would try to see how long before, we would quickly get knocked off those leaderboards, but it was still just a fun thing to do, and you would try to see how high of a rift you could get through. So that was a game that I put, oh man, hundreds and hundreds of hours into that game.
So how excited are you for Diablo 4?
Oh, I can't wait. I'm really excited. But there are going to be people that hate it, right? Because there are people that never really liked Diablo 3. They were, purists for Diablo 2.
I do love Diablo 2.
Diablo 2 is good.
Yeah, so those are mine.
All right, cool. We went through hockey. You there? Can you still hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any? Do you want to add to that?
I added just a couple of games in that. I didn't really prepare too much of a list in that, but there were three honorable mentions in that I want to. Rather than Destiny 2 in that one, my favorite experience of the past decade was probably the original Destiny.
You were the one that played the longest out of all of us.
I know. So many people dropped off it, like flies.
I tried to stay as long as I could.
But for just as in his first iteration and especially with the first raid, the Vault of Glass, it still remains kind of one of the pinnacles of gaming of the last decade for me. And the raid is,
I love that raid.
That raid was really good. Fun. We were actually fairly good at that raid.
Yeah, we had that one down.
Despite the anger from some people.
The other ones were worse, though. Vault of Glass, we had it down.
I think Crota was the one that broke some people.
Yeah, Crota was so frustrating. And the one after that was even worse.
Oh, I ran Taken King hundreds of times.
Yeah, I liked all the raids from Destiny 1.
Yeah, I liked all.
But I think the Vault of Glass was my favorite. It was
Wrath of the Machines was probably my least favorite. But the King, the Taken King raid was great.
Oh, it was very good.
I think it was just because we got swords for the first time for Crota. Because it was
I know,
a cool thing.
And the other thing about that game was the exotics used to be such a, I don't know. There was
it was special.
There was a status to them.
Yeah,
especially if you were on the one for me was in the Crucible. If you were on the receiving end of the Vex Mythoclast and that, it was so infuriating.
I never got that goddamn gun. Oh my god!
Got it.
I'm so angry. I still don't have it.
I never got it either.
It was the most broken gun ever.
I remember we were doing a raid, we had taken someone in for their first time and they got it on the first go. And I was like, what the F? This is our 15th time doing this. And I still haven't gotten it.
There's moments like that have changed my whole attitude towards gambling as well as Destiny. I'm out on both.
Sorry, Michael, you were saying?
There's one gun that I always wanted in the first one, and I farmed so long for it to try to get it and never got it. And it particularly hurt me because I used pistols in PvP.
Which one was it?
It was the Last Wish.
Yep.
It was the one that had the really cool, fanning the hammer.
Yeah. The Last Word.
Yeah.
The Last Word. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got that gun. It was my favorite gun.
You kept on getting all the exotics. We don't know why. That's why you kept playing it till the end.
So, the game I don't know. The game has an affection for me.
I can't even say anything bad about it. I did enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, and it was kind of my first experience with really it was my first experience with an online play and that with other people and that. So
it was the game that brought us all together.
Yeah, for me too.
Yeah, then. Yeah, I mean COD. It's you could never connect with people on that thing, and that especially in the PvP matches and that, it just got so weird and awful.
That's a good way of putting it.
You did actually end up meeting genuine gaming buddies on Destiny. So.
We used to also screw around in Destiny, which I think was fun. People just go around and goof off. You can do that in Titanfall or something like that, right?
Yeah, no, it's true. There was enough sort of casual elements that you could kind of tune out and just chat, and then there was the serious stuff too. So it had both.
Oh, I like Titanfall. That was another one.
Titanfall 2 was was a great game.
Yeah, it had one of the best campaigns I've played.
Yeah, the single player was surprisingly good for Titanfall 2.
Right?
I did not expect anything from it, but it delivered. Anything else?
Last thing I wanted to mention was an honorable mention to Dark Souls, which came out in 2012, I believe.
Oh, we had no Souls
game.
Oh yeah, we didn't do any Souls games. Yeah, that's true.
I would have put
Because we
Bloodborne.
like games.
I know. This one got
We
me.
play games for joy.
I don't know.
This one gets an honorable mention from me because like a lot of the games that in its wake over the past decade that I've fallen in love with have been based on that that engine.
I really got into Dark Souls 3. Like I played a lot of it. Used to go to the PvP pits, and I would like do duels.
I did that once on PC, and I decided it's the worst thing I've ever done. I'm no good at those.
I love doing those, and I would try to do it with all the shit weapons too. I'd be like, I'd make a point of not using the OP stuff, and I would get rocked regularly, but I tried.
You're probably one of the people that just murdered me.
Only person I know that can post someone in the game with a character. I love that.
Oh man.
Oh, God.
What about you, Steve? I think Huck, you're done, right, Huck?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Some that have already been mentioned, but I like them too. Like Doom it was such a refreshing, dynamic, engaging, and you just feel like a total badass, which, it's elusive, you can blow up stuff in a lot of games, but that's the thing. Like Eric mentioned, the score is like this, it just chases you, and you just run, and the whole game is just nonstop, just due to the way they designed it. I mean, it's hard to explain, but basically, it's a very unforgiving game. But when you get into this flow, the whole nature of the violence just builds. It sounds really aggressive, but it's just a really well built shooter.
Oh, it is aggressive.
Yeah, it is. It's aggression, made into a nice system, for gameplay. God of War, just because, I love the previous games, but this iteration took the series and the characters in a different place, and that's rare, like that they can actually evolve, something that you've grown up with. A couple of these actually Eric had on another list, but I would like to add in from that list Journey, just because that's the game I play when I want to relax. I'm not a Tetris-y type person, so Journey's the one I like, especially because I get to help people, who haven't played,
So funny thing about Journey is that's the music I listen to on the train when I'm going to work, and I fall asleep. So now when I play the game, I start falling asleep.
Oh no!
So I sort of ruined that game for me.
Oh no! Yeah, but Journey is a great game if you want to introduce someone who's afraid of games to games, because it's a very simple, very very beautiful little environment. But
it's on PC now too.
Nice. But my games, I guess the games that I like to put on my list are the kinds of games where you're exploring a kind of an interesting place in a different world, and it's just a very well developed world. And so I've one last one I want to add, which is maybe not on anyone's best list, but if we're talking about favorite lists, and it was the first Dishonored, which was a very weird sort of kind of like a thief style game. And if you don't know what that is, that's just a game where you're like this guy who sneaks around in like this sort of kingdom. But Dishonored was interesting because it had this great plot, and it was set in this very strange, like cosmic horror laced steampunk world, European world. So I just love the art direction. I mean, I love like the little tidbits of story, and you gained abilities, but you didn't have to play in any particular way. You could choose how you approach the world, from being very aggressive to being very quiet. And there was a moral compass as well, which was nice because you could take out, like the whole game was based on a cycle of revenge, basically. And you could choose to be very violent in how you enacted your revenge, or very just, I suppose. And it actually had an impact on the overall world, because the more violent you got, the more aggressive the world became. And ultimately the ending is affected by that too. So I actually haven't played the second one, which I'm ashamed to say, because I have it, but there were a lot of bugs early on and I just haven't had the time. But anyway, Dishonored, if you like engaging worlds and great power sets, it's a first person game, and if you like sneaking around, it's one of the best sneaky games. So yeah.
Was it? I feel it was Bethesda, wasn't it?
I hesitate to attach Bethesda to a lot of things. It's by Arcane Studios under Bethesda, just as Doom is by id. I do not want those games being associated with Bethesda because they don't their asses from their elbows anymore.
The only reason I mention it is because I remember buying it because I had just been playing Fallout 3, and I'm like, oh, I love this studio. I want to see what they're.
There was a time when Bethesda was just knocking out hits. Wolfenstein, Dishonored, and Doom back to back, and I was like, "This is the best game studio ever." Right?
But so they're adding. I know people talk a lot of shit about Fallout 76, right?
Well, so.
But they're adding NPCs and actual quest lines and factions into the game. Do you think that it's going to feel rushed and half written, or do you think they're going to actually do a good job with the NPCs and quest lines that they
this is a whole other debate, because the problem is, in my opinion, that game was created under a false pretense, sold under a false pretense. I don't think it was ever really clearly figured out what it was supposed to be. So they can add things all they want. I mean, Anthem apparently is going to get rebooted in a year. I don't know what's going to happen, right? So
why?
They spent a lot of money in it, right? And I mean, No Man's Sky came back. Everybody wants to be the next No Man's Sky, right? So I don't know. Honestly, getting back to the 76, I don't know. But right now, Bethesda is kind of screwing up. So I hope Doom is fine. We'll see. But I'm actually a little bit scared for a lot of games coming up. Very unreliable game companies right now. Anyway, I love Dishonored. It's a quirky little sneak thief steampunk magic game.
Yeah,
good choice.
Didn't Arcane also do Prey?
Yes, yeah.
So they made a couple fun games. So
Prey. Yeah, that's a good one.
I was disappointed with Prey. I like the first Prey.
I never played the first one, so
I loved the first Prey. Prey. It was like it had a lot of really gross horror, like body horror and cool.
Oh yeah, the second
it diverged quite a lot. Yeah.
Well, the first Prey introduced the idea of portals in the game, right, where you can actually travel through a portal to another part of the level.
I don't remember
that was
the first Prey that much. I remember not much of the gameplay, but I remember a lot of the story and the cool, like, I don't know, he was like Native American, so he had like a spirit animal. He had like there's a spirit world and the regular world, and when you die, he would go to the resurrect. Anyway, but there's nothing like that in the 2017 version. Wow. Yeah, and then the actual like aliens in it weren't just goopers. They were like actual like body horror, like half like mechanical, half like gross, like I don't know, demon things, kind of like Doom, but like with the different art style. Interesting. Cool. Now I want to see what this old Prey looks like. Anything else, Steve? Or sorry, Matt, you were saying something. I was gonna say there's one more, and it's more of an honorable mention just for the sheer impact of it. Two of them actually I have to throw out. The first one if we haven't talked about it, we gotta talk about Fortnite. No, we don't have to talk about Fortnite. Do we? It's not our favorite. It's not our favorite. These are favorites, right? These are favorites. We're not talking about the best games. Jeff, my friend Jeff, Matt knows Jeff. He played the narrator in Rocky Horror. He actually was like, Mike, play Fortnite with me. So I recently started playing Fortnite, and I have to say, it's not bad. You know what? It's more designed for like 13-year-olds. Me and Steve played it too, right? Yeah. And we were not bad. We just can't build as fast as people with nimble fingers, apparently. Yeah. Well, I mean, the trick too is that there's the free online stuff, and then there's the third part of it. That's the part you have to pay for. I like that paying part. If you have, but that's the thing. If you have all three parts to the game, it's easy to access and do everything you need to do. It's if you're missing that third part that's actually paid for, you can't build stuff fast enough because you don't have the time to do it. Because that third part is literally the world creator. Yeah. Well, so that's but it's but I mean it's more of a just like it's again. I'm sure we've all played it at some point. It's mindlessly dumb and fun, but culturally, you can be Harley Quinn now. Yeah. Right now during the Birds of Prey stuff. Oh, they've had they made deals with Marvel all the time too. You could go with those and Star Wars, right? And that's great. Like it crosses platforms, it gets people involved. It's neat. It's not the best game in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but darn, it's funny.
And I think most people actually play that on phones than on actual consoles or computer. I remember reading that it's like by an order of magnitude that it's played more on mobile devices.
Yes.
And if you watch like a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old play it on a phone, like it's incredible how quickly they can build things and
it's
play a shooter on a phone.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's one more I have to add, and I'm sure no one talked about it. And this, again, for me, is one of my favorite, and it's a whole franchise, is Five Nights at Freddy's.
Ooh, interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
It's straightforward, relatively mindless, GD terrifying at times, especially if you're playing it in a quiet room.
It's stressful, like in a fun way.
Yeah, every game that's come out after the first one.
To me, I've seen people play it on Steam.
Basically, the basic concept of the game, and it hasn't changed much from every sequel that's come out, is you are hired on as a night security guard for this restaurant. It's
a Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, it's like Freddy Fazbender's Pizza Palace. It's basically Chuck E. Cheese, but without using that license. And your job is to just watch over the restaurant overnight and make sure nothing goes wrong. Problem is that the animatronics that are in the restaurant have gone rogue, and they've gone homicidally rogue. So you have 5 days. You're basically playing 5 nights at Freddy's. And every night they get slightly more, like they're all animatronics and they're all AI, so they get smarter. And you're basically in this control room where you have enough power to operate doors, check the cameras, or operate the air conditioning. But if if you have the AC going, you can't hear things moving around outside. If you have the cameras going, you can't have the door closed. Like it's just, you have to it's sort of resource management so that you don't get killed by a terrifying animatronic.
There are some scary sequences in that game.
Oh yeah, and it gets more. Every game builds on the intensity of the last one. It gives you more stuff you can do and more ways that you can die horribly. But I say it's pretty mindless. But again, it's spawned an entire franchise. I think they're on the 5th one, the 5th version.
Oh, they've made action figures.
There's action figures. There's novelizations. There's a movie in the works. Universal is actually working on a ride right now that's going to be opening up in not this year, but next, I believe, is the rumor.
Good Lord.
It's great. I mean, again, it is. You can play it on PC. You can play it on your phone. I have it on my phone, or I had it on my phone until I gave up on it because I couldn't beat it because I was just like, no, this is too much. Because the thing is, if you're playing it on your phone, you have to have headphones in because you can't use your speaker because things aren't loud enough. Right up until you die, and then it's this jarring screech in your ear. And F that, I'm too old for that.
Fair.
So that was just the honorable mention I had to give because I love Five Nights.
I'm going to give 3 honorable mentions just because they kept on popping in and out of my list. Portal 2 from 2011,
I was
which
going to
is
say that too.
a first-person puzzle game, and it has probably one of the funniest scripts in
it's
I think it was one of the games that my wife, who does not like video games, would actually play with me, even though she's also bad at first-person shooters. So
yeah, that's actually one I was actually going to say along that exact line. That even though it is a first-person game, it gives you enough, like, you get so engrossed in what's happening in that minimalist way, and then also the thinking part of it, so it's more interesting.
I love puzzle games. I'm also going to pop on Infamous 2 by Sucker Punch from 2011.
Nice.
This was a universe that I just loved, and I'm sad it never continued past Second Son on.
I know. I wish they'd gone farther with it.
Never played those.
Wait, so I want to interject here. I liked the Prototype universe more than the Infamous universe.
I never played Prototype, so
I loved Prototype.
Wasn't that a Microsoft? Just Microsoft? Yeah, I never had an Xbox.
The Prototype. I'll say this with no shade whatsoever. Prototype was basically them doing a Maximum Carnage game without using the words any Marvel property.
Oh,
because literally it was the map was all of New York City. You could eventually glide or fly around the whole thing depending on how you developed your powers. You could develop weaponry, and the parasite, and you could develop weapons on your arms. It was basically you were playing Carnage without ever being Carnage.
Fair. That's cool.
And the whole point was to get so powerful you could do massive kills of people. It's phenomenal fun.
Nice. Cool. Well, I guess we'll pop that on there. Infamous 2. So just because I love the mechanics from it. I thought the gameplay was cool. I thought it was a living comic book.
Yeah.
But I guess there was one on Microsoft too, which also ties into another one, Marvel's Spider-Man by Sucker Punch from 2018.
Yeah.
It was the only game where I actually felt like an actual superhero the whole time.
So good.
You felt like Spider-Man the whole time. And
when you're flying through the city on your web.
Yeah.
There are days where I just like, again, for relaxation, I just like swinging through the city, wearing different costumes and seeing the reactions of different people. So good. And my last one, I guess I'm going to put on here because I don't want this to go on forever, is 2018 Celeste, which is a side-scrolling platformer. And it's a beautiful game. It's gorgeous. It is that 8-bit graphic type, Michael. So
it's like a Super Meat Boy.
Okay, I know what that is.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's so hard. It's one of those games where if you screw up, it is definitely your fault. The music is gorgeous. It's by so Steve. The music from Celeste is by Lena.
Oh, sure.
So it's amazing. And Lena was someone we played Destiny with.
Yes, that's right. It all comes back to Destiny. Oh God, can't get away from it.
Yeah,
but yeah. Celeste is gorgeous.
It's a phenomenal game. And that's it. What did you guys think of our list? Why don't you send us a note? Are there games that we miss? Why don't you just let us know? We're on everything. Email us, contact us on social media, everything. Thanks, Steve, Michael, and Matt for coming on, and have a good one. Goodbye.
Bye.